Hey, good evening, Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, as well as our other streaming channels. Oh, my buddy. Woo! Wow. Y'all see him? Tonight is his last night on his fast. He has definitely learned something during his fast from Lent until Easter. And this is something that Dwayne does every year. And I'm proud of his discipline that he could do it. And he's back with his NFC East stuff today. What's up, Wayne?
Hey man, it's crazy to think, man. 8 weeks, we did it. Really 9 because we had the special show. So this is 9 straight weeks, man. And we started out west and we made it to the east, and now we went to NFC East. And
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about how everything went so fast when you really sit back and think about it. Uh, Time flew. We waited, made sure that the division that we watched more closely than others, we made sure that that division was last. But
hey man,
Wayne, man,
26 days to a very special day, man.
yeah, it's
26
gonna be
days.
interesting because we're gonna do a explain that to everybody in the chat. Our show lineup that week from the draft till
Listen, we got something special for people. We're doing a partnership that I'm very excited about for our
yeah
draft coverage. We have some of the guys that was on when we started this thing a year ago.
yeah
Well, Quentin's been starting it much longer than that, but our draft coverage a year ago, man, we had so much fun with our mock draft that we did, and then draft night being on, and it was a good night for Cowboy fans to be online when the CD Lamb pick came down, and we may have that same type of situation in 26 days. So
yeah
it's
we got it.
exciting. I'm so
We got
excited.
we
You know,
got
I
the
got the
guys
I
from
got the Final Four on in the background, but we're about to do what we got to do.
yeah for just to give some people a little heads up. I was waiting actually till Dwayne got back to social media to announce it, but you'll see it all over social media tomorrow. But I'll just announce it tonight. We got Let's Talk, me and Dwayne and myself. We got the guys from the 4G Sports. Hopefully, it's all three of them. With And then we got the guys from Dream Recruiting, the South Jersey branch.
Nice.
Mr. Outler and hopefully Mr. Creekmore, but we'll see. They've all been invited, and we got a very interesting draft show that's
And
going to
that's a nice combo, man. Three of those coming together, man.
happen.
We
Yeah,
forming
yeah,
like we forming like Voltron, but I'm gonna let them know right now. Let's talk is the head. We ain't never the tail. We always the head. We gonna come
I'm,
together like
I'm gonna
Voltron.
tell I'm gonna tell that night because I got some interesting facial expressions that I'm gonna be looking for. Um, we can, Dwayne. I don't know how you want to do the show. You want to wait? Dallas is the team that we root for. They pick first in the division. Do you want to wait till last to do them or?
I say let's go from 19 up to 10.
Okay,
Because I think
19. We got the Washington football team.
I think if we start at 10, we may not give those other teams that just deserve. So we'll start with the Washington football team. And again, shout out to SI. No, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. Shout out to USA Today. That's where we get most of their draft needs from. But for our team, I changed things up a little bit. So I went to USA Today for the Giants, the Eagles, and the Washington football team. But for us, I went to SI.com and that man, Mike Fisher, to get the draft needs. So, but we're going to start with the Washington football team. They're at 19. Um, Listen, people may find this shocking, but the number one need is a quarterback, man. Don't think that Fitz Magic or Fitz Tragic or however you want to say it is the long-term answer. This man's on his ninth team, okay? He's not the long-term answer. So you got quarterback, offensive tackle, corner, safety, and linebacker as their top needs. And our mock 1.0, we went with JOK, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. Y'all know I've been saying it. I said his name a lot last week. Stud, man. I think he's going to be one of the sleepers. When it's said and done after next year, people are going to be like, how they let him fall into the teams? Keep an eye on him. He's going to be special. Some other people, Lyman, Christian Darrisaw, Tavian Jenkins, Alex Leatherwood, Samuel Cosme, Jalen Mayfield. Those are some linemen that will be available for them. Now, they did some things in free agency. They got Chris Samuel to go with Scary Terry. That's their Ohio State connection. And I got two other Big Ten wide receivers that they may look at, Rondell Moore or Rashad Bateman. So Washington football team, everybody seems to be thinking that they have ascended after going 7-9. I'm not going to disrespect them. They won the NFC East. But one thing about the NFC East, there's no repeat champions in that division. So everybody's saying Washington, I just don't see them repeating. I don't. But Ron Rivera may be the best coach in the division. It's kind of tough when you say that when you got a Super Bowl winning coach in the division. But if you want to give Ron Rivera the nod over Mike McCarthy, I can't argue with it. Joe Judge did a very good job in his first year. And we will see what Nick Sirianni going to be with the Eagles. We don't know yet.
It's interesting that we did the Washington football team first, not only because of the draft order. They draft last because they won a division. It's probably the Cowboys' biggest rival. It's actually the team that me and you despise the most.
It's not probably. I want people to understand this. The Dallas Cowboys' most hated rival and biggest rival is the Washington football team. It's not the New York Giants. It's not the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Giants, Cowboys may be yours. Eagles, Cowboys may be yours. But it's Cowboys, and, we're in a politically correct environment. But it's still, back in the day, it was Cowboys versus Indians. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
Well, let me ask you, Dwayne. I know this is kind of hard and fun for doing what we do because me and you both are big Ron Rivera fans,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to figure him out where he's going because we know as a coach, he's a more close to the vest type of coach, running the football. He probably want his quarterback to throw the football 18 to 25 times a game.
Yeah.
A lot of short passes, may take a chance 2 or 3 times per quarter with the long ball. Do you think I'm gonna ask you? Do you think that they're gonna make a play? Maybe not the first round, the second round for Kellen Mond, because I see that his name has been running up the draft boards the last 2 days.
Listen, he fits what Rivera likes to do. Would not be surprising if Washington pulled the trigger on Kellen Mond in the second or the third round. I'm a Kellen Mond fan. When this whole draft situation started, I was hoping the Cowboys could get him in the 6th round, stash him behind Dak or whatever. But nah, man, the word is out on him now. So he ain't going to be there in the 6th round. But, yeah, I like Kellen Mond's potential. That's the P word. And, I'm not going to get in trouble like some of our counterparts at the 3 and 4 letter networks. They always want to put the A word on our African American quarterbacks. So I'm not going to do that to Kellen Mond. I'm going to say he's a quarterback. And I think he could be a very successful quarterback in this league.
Yeah, it's interesting, and what me and you've been discussing a lot this week with the draft alone is like we got to understand as football fans, as observers, that this is considered the legal time to lie in the NFL. This is where legal becomes paramount.
Yeah.
This is where these GMs would call their media connections and put something out there just to put it out there, basically doing the smoke screen to playing the games. But
Absolutely.
Washington to me has been very quiet, and it's odd because I really do believe that they have a that defense with what they got, and me and you had JOK spotted for them already. JOK on that defense. Ryan Kerrigan is still unsigned,
I don't want to
and
think. I
I,
it hurt me to mock him to this team, man. I don't even want to think about him on that second level behind that. We gotta come up with a nickname for that front four in Washington. They're nickname worthy. That
yeah,
front
the nickname word, and it's funny because anybody that knows the Washington football team, their front seven
four.
folks is special.
When Ryan Kerrigan, and I tell people, go to Pro Football Reference. When Ryan Kerrigan can't make it on the field in that starting lineup, it's telling you something, man.
And they're not even pressed or re-signing their all-time. He's
No,
actually their all-time sack leader, I think,
yeah,
and they're
and they
not they're not pressed on
no,
re-signing him right now. He's still a
come
free agent.
come if you want to. You know what I mean? We got Sweat and Chase on the outsides,
And,
and we
and
got Allen and Payne in the middle. We all right. That's basically what they telling you. We good. So now you throw JOK on that defense with Riverboat Ron Rivera, but I think the Washington football team is doing themselves a disservice at the quarterback position. Um, Ryan Fitzpatrick, you don't know what you're going to get from him.
yeah,
1 week he going to look like a world beater. Like, hey, listen, I stole it from Bart Scott. He said y'all can call him Fitzmagic if you want, but he can also be Fitz tragic. So, and that's the thing, man.
yeah. I
And
find it
then,
interesting
I'm
what
gonna
they're
just say
doing.
this. I still ain't get my Let's Talk sweatshirt yet, people. It's coming, so you got to deal with my Mets. I know it's a football show, but it's baseball season, and my team can't even get on the field. But
Just
that's a
just face
story
it.
for another
Just
day.
face it. The Mets whole weekend been canceled, unfortunately, because of COVID. And me and Dwayne have yet to talk about baseball. We're gonna have a talk about baseball one day on one of
We
these
do
shows.
that too, but we're gonna keep on. So we got next the dirty Philadelphia Eagles. My man Jalen Hurts getting a little backlash this weekend for some Eagle fans because they flocked out and bought a Jalen Hurts number 2 jersey, and the brother then changed his number. Now he wearing number
Number
one.
one. Now he wearing number one. I think the Eagles trading that pick, I think, was smart for the long term effect of what the Eagles want to do. The
Listen,
Eagles the Eagles are in a situation where they're finding out what Jalen Hurts is about this year, and then because they picked up that number one pick again for next year, they could go back into that quarterback search. It's going to be a rough year for the Eagles. However, this draft and then next year's draft is going to tell what's going to happen in the next 5 years for them.
listen. I don't want it to happen as a Cowboy fan, but think about what the Eagles are doing right now. If Carson Wentz hits a couple of incentives, 75% of the snaps for the Colts, that conditional 2 becomes a 1. So now you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles having 3 first-round picks next year. They ain't gonna use all 3 picks. That's draft capital, man. So they may go after Russell Wilson. They may go after Deshaun Watson, who will have another little conversation on that before the night is over. But they're setting themselves up. But as far as this draft, number 1 draft need is a corner. They just can't fix their secondary for some reason. Number
I
2,
mean, the Eagles been working on their secondary like the last 6 years.
I know,
I
and
mean,
Slay played okay, but he ain't got nobody on the other side of him.
yeah,
Then you got 2 linebacker, 3 offensive line, because we know their offensive line was kind of a mess last year. 4 safety position, 5 wide receivers. So when we originally mocked the Eagles, of course they were higher. They were in the 6th pick, and we had Jalen Waddle of Alabama going there in our mock. Still potentially going to be there at 12. It's still a potential for him to be there. Other potential picks: J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, Devontae Smith, Kyle Pitts. So the Eagles, it was good trading back, because you need to build something up around Jalen Hurts. And at 12, they're still going to get them a pretty darn good player, man. I could see J.C. Horn. And if you got J.C. Horn and you got Darius Slay on the other side, now you're doing something with your secondary. I don't want them to do that. I want them to take somebody like Greg Rousseau, a pass rusher. I don't want them taking no corner. I don't need nobody to be trying to deal with us when we go with our sets of Cooper, Lamb, and Gallup.
Yeah, the
So,
Eagles they're a strange team. Before they won the Super Bowl, they were actually ahead of the division, as far as probably in their program, and they lucked up. They lucked up, as I say, on the situation with Bradford. Was able to parlay Bradford for a number one pick, moved up in the draft, and got Wentz, and then Wentz put them in a position, home field advantage wise, to win the Super Bowl. And
yes.
now their whole program is like it looks like it's in shambles. But one thing about Howie, give Howie some time. He can draft. He is smart. He has the ownership behind him, and I think probably next 2 or 3 years you'll see the Eagles like really they got old quick. They got old quick. The receivers got old. The line got old. The
Yeah.
defensive line got old. Get them 2 or 3 years with some good drafts, and I could see them right back in contention for it because Howie knows what he's doing. It's just
Yeah.
the thing with Wentz is that
That's what
it
killed
was
the
like the worst case scenario. You pay your franchise quarterback all this money, you get rid of the coach to appease the quarterback. The quarterback still don't want to be there, and he's hurting the team because he's still on their salary cap, and it
yeah.
happens. It happens in sports where sometimes it's just a bad mix at the worst time. So I think the Eagles they may draft. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Rashawn Slater is still lingering around.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater would be a good pick for them, a building block. The Eagles has got some interesting things in store in the next couple years.
Yeah, man. So it's gonna be interesting. We don't know who Sirianni is. We think we got an idea of the type of offense he's gonna run, but the Eagles got to settle their running back situation as well too. I mean, they do it by committee in Philadelphia. Um, do they re-sign Ertz? What's going on with Zach Ertz? They got Dallas Goddard, who's one of the better tight ends in this league. Their receivers, they have the young man that they drafted last year, Jalen Rager. Um, I think Jeffries is gone. So we know Deshaun Jackson is gone. So they got to rework that receiving core as well. I mean, they got
Yeah.
some other little parts. The gentleman with the hyphenated name, he's one of their wide receivers. So it's just going to be curious to see how they go. You know, I think
Most Eagle fans will say that they need a lot, but honestly, Howie only needs probably two drafts. And like Dwayne said, because we most likely think Carson Wentz is going to go over 75% of the snaps in the Colts,
yeah,
they're going to have three number ones. And even if they don't parlay that number one for the franchise quarterback, they could parlay that number one like we see Miami and the Jets being
yeah,
able to do, where it
just
can affect 2 or 3 drafts. So the Eagles, as far as rebuilding their program, the start of their rebuilding their program started when the day started and they traded Carson Wentz away. That's when the start of the rebuild started. So
and I
they
will
should be all right.
I will have this one last comment about the Eagles before we move on to the New York Giants. I think they will rue the day that they let Deuce Staley walk out of that building. He
Hmm.
was the locker room guy. He was the guy that everybody went to, and you let him walk away. I think that is bigger than Doug Peterson leaving. I think it's bigger than Carson Wentz. Deuce Staley was Philadelphia. He was the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's a shame he didn't get a chance to get the head coaching job, but he walked out the door, and now guess what he is? He's the assistant head coach up in Detroit, man, with Dan Campbell. So Dan Campbell took him in. He's going to be a locker room guy for those guys. The Eagles will regret letting Deuce Staley go, man. They really will.
I agree. I think you know what we feel about Dan Campbell and
Yeah.
what he's trying to assemble up there in Detroit.
So,
Now, Dwayne,
so we'll move on to the team that has had the best offseason in NFC East, the New York Giants. You know, they
the New
ripped
York Football Giants.
New York Football Giants. They did a lot in free agency. They re-signed Leonard Williams. You know, they got Kenny Galladay. They got Adoree Jackson. They just picked up another defensive tackle. God, Shelton. I think did
Well,
they
they
pick
picked Danny
up?
Shelton up.
Did they picked up Shelton or
I don't
someone?
I don't know if they picked Danny Shelton up yet or not.
It was a DT that they picked up this week. I apologize. It's a named DT that they picked up this week too. So looking to fill that Dalvin Thomas.
Well, Judge coached Danny Shelton up in New England. That was
Yeah,
just Danny Shelton.
I don't know if it was Shelton. Forgive me. I should have did my research a little bit better. But I know that they did pick up a DT at towards the end of this week, middle end of this week. So at the time we was putting this together, it was before they did the Galladay thing. But we had the number one need for the Giants was a wide receiver. Number two was edge, three corner, four tight end, and five interior defensive linemen, like guard, center type. Um, Free agency, they addressed the receiver, they addressed the corner. So you would think, maybe they'll be identifying a DE, but in the mock, we had them taking Devontae Smith out of Bama. I don't know that they'll take a wide receiver now that they got Galladay. But some of the other potential people we have for them, Micah Parsons, who had a very good pro day, Azeez Ojulari, Kwity Paye, Greg Rousseau, Jalen Phillips, Rashawn Slater, and Penei Sewell.
I
Because
could see the Giants. I could see the Giants trying to get Slater as well. They got Nate Soldier coming back. He had opted out last year. Dwayne, I could also see the Giants trading out. And here's my theory on the Giants. I know a lot of Giant fans may disagree with me, but the Giants is making a run at the division. In their eyes, they feel as though if they can get in the playoffs, they'll be way ahead of their program. I say that based off of their free agent moves. Their free agent moves was not a team that think they're in rebuilding.
no,
I think
those are go for it moves.
they go for it moves. I think the jury's still out on the quarterback, and I think we're going to find a lot about the quarterback as far as a health standpoint and whether he could carry a franchise. He's due for a big payday coming up. His fifth-year option should be rolling around, as well as the running back coming back from an ACL. So I think that like I've been saying since last year, I won't be surprised come mini camps that we start hearing that Saquon is starting to ask about some money because he hasn't had his career injury and he sees how the running backs they might get paid, but they don't get paid what they're worth. So I wouldn't be surprised. So I really watched what they did in free agency, and it was quite interesting. Giving Adoree Jackson, a guy who had been cut, a guy who was hurt most of this year. His original team offered him the fifth-year option, then rescinded the option and said, "You know what? We're just gonna cut you." So even though me and you both really liked Adoree Jackson coming out of college, I thought it was rather strange that they gave him so much money. I think they bid it against themselves with that money. Um, Galladay's another one they paid a lot of money to for a guy that has never been healthy. And I'm not saying he's not a number one, but one of the things that one of the guys from the Three Letter Network said is that Galladay is a guy that goes up there and get it. He's a great 50-50 ball receiver. However, when you have a quarterback like Daniel Jones, who is a turnover waiting to happen, he's a machine. I mean, You get quarterbacks that's like that, that are
Yep.
high turnover guys. I mean, Brett Favre is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, but he was a high turnover guy. So you got to ask yourself, does the quarterback and his skill set match the receiver and his skill set? So we'll see. I mean, Evan Ingram, a lot. He's always had a lot of potential. It's always been potential. He needs a breakout year. I just think the
Saquon,
Giants,
Saquon
Saquon.
going to be very interesting. Do they
I,
resign? Do they
yeah,
pick?
I did. Dwayne, I just think that they're making a run for it, but then they let Tomlinson go. It
They
was
let
weird because
Tomlinson go.
Tomlinson didn't sign for a lot of money.
They let two key players go in two key positions. They let that DT Tomlinson go, and they let their guard Zittler go. And that's, I mean, though they added, they still have problems with that offensive line, man. They drafted Andrew Thomas over Micah Becton, and it's looking like the Jets is happy that they did what they did. Andrew Thomas struggled a little bit. Solder, he's coming off a year off, and he struggled the last year he played in 2019. So that signing is looking like a bad signing at this point. So, you know, I love with the New York Giants. I love that they're
What's
going.
up, Dre? We talk about your Giants as you came in.
I mean, definitely in free agency, the Giants is proving that they're going for it. You know, Galladay at 18 and a half. It's a lot of money. But they got them a true number one. You put him with Ingram, you put him with Sterling Shepard in the slot. You got Darius Slayton on the other side. Man, but the Giants, Joe Judge, they're pushing all their chips in the middle of the table and they're betting on Daniel Jones. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what Daniel Jones comes with.
Yeah,
You know, to
I
me,
just find it, Dwayne.
to
I
me,
find it peculiar
a
that
lot of people didn't agree with me, but I say when healthy, I just feel like Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the league when healthy. But some people say I'm wrong about that. I get it. Some people say he don't hit the hole like he needs to hit it. But there's no bigger home run threat in the running back position to me than Saquon Barkley, man. I hold my breath every time my team got to play against him because
I mean,
blink of an eye, he could take it 85, bro.
I think that Saquon is the best pure back in football. I would like to see them use him more in the screen game.
Yeah.
They did use him a little differently, but it's just weird. And like always say, Dwayne, right now that kid. He has to protect his future. And I would be hard. I never looked up who his agent was. I would be highly surprised if Saquon goes to camp and don't say, "I want my money." I would be shocked because these players do it before they get hurt. This guy just came off of a serious injury, and he see the players that are getting paid that haven't been there. Um, they getting paid before him, and I think that it's a big year for the Giants with Daniel Jones. It's funny because usually you try to figure the quarterback out before you get him pieces. I think that they put pieces in there to really see if they're going to give him this money.
And one thing, in my opinion, one thing that Gettleman has done for himself, and what's up to Dre? I didn't get a chance to say what's up. One thing I will say is I think Gettleman has set himself up to draft the best available player at 11. I don't think he's locked into a position. I think he could go best available. I agree, Dre. They do want that next Eli, and they think Daniel Jones is it. We're gonna see. They put the stuff around him.
I mean, they did do some things that me and you I know like with last year with the Logan Ryans to
Oh yeah.
re-signing him to that 3 year
Listen,
deal.
if you go back and you review some of the tapes of this Let's Talk, I said it last year, and I got a lot of backlash and negative people saying I'm crazy. But I said when you look at it with a healthy Xavier McKinney, I felt that the Giants had the best secondary in the NFL. When you had Bradbury, you had Logan Ryan, you had Jabril Peppers, and with a healthy Xavier McKinney. You got to tell me a better collection of four back there. And now you have added a Dory Jackson to that, okay? and we're gonna see. You know, Darnay Holmes was good. If people remember last year in the draft, I was stomping for Darnay Holmes. I wanted the Cowboys to put Darnay Holmes in the slot. He's a giant. I don't know. Some of these moves may force
Let,
him away from the
let,
Giants.
let
Let's
me
have to
let me
see
ask you a question.
where he
Let
gets
me
on
ask
the
you a
field.
question.
Yes, sir.
Dwayne, the biggest loss that they decided and he was probably the number one rated defensive tackle in free agency, and a lot of teams wanted him. The Tomlinson thing. Do you think the Tomlinson thing is going to affect the middle linebacker?
I think it will because he won't be clean. But here's the thing. They had to make a decision between Leonard Williams and Tomlinson, right? I think they went with Leonard Williams because of the draft capital they gave to the Jets to acquire him. So because they acquired him from the Jets and it was a trade, you know how New York media can get. You know how New York fans can get. I'm a New York fan. Remember, I want people to understand. I'm wearing the orange and the blue right now, the Mets. I wear the orange and the blue of the Knicks. I'm a New York fan except for the football team. In football, my heart resides in Dallas, Texas. But I'm a New York fan. So I'm very critical. Think about it. I was ready to boo Francisco Lenoir if he didn't sign the extension with the Mets. I was going to boo his ass. All right. But now he signed it. So it's all good. It's all cheers. So I think that decided a lot. Um, it's Joe Judge is building this team in his likeness. I want to see if Joe Judge, I want to see the Joe Judge Saquon Barkley dynamic. I want to see how Joe Judge handles Saquon. That's very interesting to me. I want to see how their relationship plays out, especially because you have a decision to make, man. Listen, you gave Gallaudet $18.5 million, right? You're gonna have to pay Daniel Jones if he has the year you
You're going to
think
give Daniel
he's gonna
Jones
have.
at least 30 million.
You gotta
I know
pay
it
him.
sounds crazy, folks, but Daniel Jones getting no less than 30 million a
Yeah.
year.
So is there gonna be enough slices of the pie to give Saquon? Saquon gonna be looking for at least $20 million. You look at Zeke's last deal, he getting like 18 a year.
Hey Dre, I know it's way too much money, and it sounds crazy, but just think about this: Daniel Jones was the sixth pick in the draft.
Yeah.
Uh,
He wasn't no
most quarter
first-round
he's gonna
pick
have
by
a fifth.
Wayne
He's gonna have
Dakota.
a fifth-year option that's gonna be about 17 million.
Yeah.
When he gets the franchise money for
But
because he's a
listen,
franchise quarterback,
think about what
he's
the
gonna get about 30 million.
listen, when you think about Mahomes, when you think about Wayne Dakota Prescott, when you think about Josh Allen got his deal coming up, when you think about Lamar Jackson got his deal coming up, Baker Mayfield gonna have his deal coming up. All this before Daniel Jones. Do you know what that damn franchise
I'm,
tag is gonna
I'm,
be?
hey Dre, I'm sorry, man. I ain't mean to do that to you,
Yeah, ain't
but
nobody
uh,
know. We just talking, yo. You
but
know,
we but,
ain't
but
no
we
hate
being
here.
honest. I mean,
We
I
just
mean when
talking.
you got these quarterbacks, the problem with a lot of these GMs is that the GMs and the ownership, they knew that this big multiple billion-dollar TV deal was coming. It came. It's here. The
Yeah,
NFL salary cap is probably will go up next year about $50 million. It's going to be a
crazy.
balloon. It's going to
Yeah,
be a balloon payment. So what's going to happen is the quarterbacks that's getting less than 20 million or 25 million. This is the problem that the 49ers is having with Garoppolo. They're giving him 20 something $1 million, and because he hasn't won nothing, they are ready to turn their whole franchise back over to a rookie quarterback to have on that rookie deal. Because if you got your quarterback taking up 15 to 20% of your salary cap, the chances of you winning, they use a stat, the chances of you winning is slim to none. We don't want to use that stat and say that's the reason, but
yeah.
your
They
depth
said,
guys, your depth guys can't get signed. This is why it was crazy that the Giants could have just did some things and gave Tomlinson something because they got the money. They could have gave Tomlinson a $30 million deal, and most of it was a signing bonus because that signing bonus money was up front. So they could have gave Tomlinson the money. They just chose not to, which is crazy. But
you
believe
gonna
me,
have Going forward with the way that things are, right? If you have an owner that has deep pockets, it's going to work to your advantage, okay? Because the way the salary caps going to be working, man, like, I'm going to say something that's not, people going to think I'm crazy. So let me just put it out here. You're not going to agree with me, but I'm being serious when I say this. I think quarterback salary should not be included in the cap, man. I really do. Because come on, man. I heard so many people saying Dak Prescott didn't deserve the contract that he got, right? Only won one playoff game, all that. Deshaun Watson only won one playoff game. He got a big payday. Is Lamar Jackson the world's best quarterback? Maybe not. But that man going to get close to $45-46 million a year with his next deal. Josh Allen, I think my call out is he's going to be the first $50 million quarterback.
He will.
Josh
He
Allen.
will. He
Is
will.
he $50 million? Hell no. But the market's going to dictate that he's worth it. So I think the NFL has to do something with these quarterback salaries when it comes to the overall salary cap.
And
Again,
see what
I
like
know that's
Dwayne,
crazy, but that's just the way I feel about it.
like Dwayne said, that what most people don't know is that when you have the reason why he said your ownership group have to have deep pockets is because when you sign a guy to an NFL contract, the guaranteed money has to go to a separate bank account in escrow. So with that, you have to have cash on hand. A lot of these owners don't have cash on hand. They need it when the NFL divvy up their profit sharing. A lot of these owners, this is where they get their check. Like I know that last year each team got like a $200 million check. So this is what happens with the NFL franchises with the gate and their check. This is how these teams make money.
Listen,
So with that, like Dak Prescott, a lot of people don't know it. The day he signed his contract, he got $74 million
you took the words right out of my mouth.
transferred right to his account.
You took the words right out of my mouth, and that's why we are who we are, because
Yeah,
we took it on deck.
because the ownership group
Before
had
he
enough money to
throws,
pay him.
damn the fact before he throws a pass week one, before he throws a pass in OTAs, that brother got $74 million in his bank account. Now,
I mean, so the salary cap gives people the illusion that it's parity,
well, think about it.
and it's
Think
really
about it, right,
not
Q?
if you don't have an owner that got deep pockets.
Q, think about it, right? The Cowboys on that cap last year, Rain Dakota counted 31.5 million against their cap last year. If they franchised him this year, he would have been 37.7 million against their cap. Okay. So as we just said, the brother for signing his name got $74 million, but the Cowboys actually saved on their cap because his cap hit's only going to be $22.5 million.
Yeah,
So they
yeah,
saved like $15 million by extending him and
bro.
giving him 75, 74, 75 million up front. The
Yeah,
MVP, y'all want to start talking about MVPs of free agency? And like I said, I put the Giants right at the top of that list because of what they did in free agency. But the real winner of free agency is a man named Todd French, who signed who got Rain Dakota Prescott his deal, got Kenny Galladay his deal, and got Simmons, the safety of the Denver Broncos, his deal.
you're not done. Shaq Barrett too.
Shaq Barrett, his deal. So the winner is Todd French. But
You know,
yeah, so the
it's
Giants getting all
go ahead,
back
Wayne.
full circle to what we were talking about with the draft. I think the Giants have set themselves up in free agency to be able to go with the best available player
Yeah,
at 11.
yeah.
And now we're going to move on to 10, which is the Dallas Cowboys, the team that we root for. And yes, we started with them last. Yeah, it's our show. So we started with them last. And according to Mike Fisher at SI.com, shout out to Fish Sports, draft needs one corner, 2 offensive tackle, 3 interior defensive linemen, 4 linebacker, and 5, believe it or not, yes, it's true, they got to figure out the quarterback situation behind Rain Dakota Prescott. So, way back when we did our first mock 1.0, I had them taking Caleb Farley, the cornerback from Virginia Tech. I will give you the potential picks because that's what we do for this show. But as I told my brother, that's right, my brother.
Dwayne went out on a limb today,
As
folks.
I told
He's
him,
about to go on record and say something, y'all.
going on record, I want you all to see me clearly. If he is available, let me put that caveat in there. If he's available at 10 and the Dallas Cowboys don't pick him, I will be completely disgusted and upset. And that man's name is one Patrick Surtain II out of Alabama. I'm telling Jerry, I'm telling Steven, and I'm telling Will and Will I Trust McClay, get it done. Don't drop the ball on this one. But now back to what we do for this show. Potential picks for the Cowboys at 10. Penei Sewell, who for some reason seems to be dropping. I think he's the second best player in this draft, Penei Sewell. I know some people say Kyle Pitts. I said it last week. You got to be careful when you do player comps. But Penei Sewell is Anthony Munoz, man. He had his college career. Now, hear what I'm about to say. The man had his college career at Oregon, and he's still 19 years old. He's 19. Okay. JOK. Don't be surprised if JOK is picked at 10 by Dallas, man. They do so.
For everybody that don't know in the chat, JOK is the multi linebacker from Notre Dame. He could play. He's basically a linebacker, outside linebacker, and a safety in one. His covering skills for a linebacker is incredible. If you watch any tape on him,
and
they nicknamed him JOK because nobody could pronounce all his names, so his nickname is JOK. But
JOK.
if
If
you haven't seen an outside linebacker who could do it all, he's the next one that could do it all at the outside linebacker position.
And let me just say this about JOK. Not that this always translates to being a great football player. The brother is an Adonis, man. He is a specimen, bro. He cut up. He's just cut. He's ripped, man. But let's get back to it. Rashawn Slater, okay.
What position he play?
Wherever he wants on the offensive line. And he the type of person you should ask him, where do you want to play? He could play all 5 positions. He could be an all-pro at all 5 positions. Yeah, I said it, all-pro. I ain't say pro bowler. I said all-pro. I threw one of my favorites in. He won't. They're not going to do it. But, I'm a fan.
Zaven Collins?
Zaven Collins, right? I'm thinking maybe we trade down and we can get Zaven Collins. J.C. Horn, who is just his father's son. If you remember J.C. Horn's father, his father is Joe Horn, the wide receiver, most famously playing for the Saints. Most famously, he had the cell phone hitting in the goalpost pad, and he took it out and made the phone call. Back when you couldn't celebrate. Now everybody celebrate. They run down the end zones after interception, posing for selfies and all that. The most intriguing prospect in this draft, Kyle Pitts. Listen, I want Patrick Surtain. Folks, that's it. I want Patrick Surtain, man. His daddy was a great NFL player. Very good. Let me not throw the word great around. Very good NFL corner for the Miami Dolphins. Was his high school coach. Been coaching that boy since Pee Wee football. He's a pro. Patrick Surtain is a pro. He comes from the Nick Saban school. He was college teammates with Trayvon Diggs, so they got a connection with each other. I want Patrick Surtain the second, and now I'm off my soapbox. I'm going to pass it on to my brother.
I'm upset with a lot of the Cowboy bloggers. Not that I respect all them guys and what they do and the research they do, but one thing that a lot of the guys that follow the Cowboys that do what we do is they don't have they it seems like they don't have their own opinions. Once they form an opinion about one person and one guy says something, all of the bloggers and all of the insiders say the same thing. So this week the word was BAP, best available player. That came out to be the number two best player all around most drafts. Everybody saying Kyle Pitts after Trevor Lawrence. As a football fan, you would want Kyle Pitts, Penny Sewell, Sertan, Caleb Farley, Slater, all these guys to be on your team. However, that's not practical. I would say that in the beginning of the week, I had a discussion with this man, and I told him, I said, as a Cowboy fan, basically, I cannot be upset with what we draft at number 10. Um, and I'm gonna stick to that. And the reason why is because the Cowboys, for some reason, when we draft low like this, we call it high on draft boards, but it's really low. When the Cowboys draft like this, they always seem to strike gold. I don't know what be going on.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if it's the NFL trying to work with them or something. But one of the things that happened just last week was Caleb Farley hurt his back. Caleb Farley clearly probably would have been the Dallas Cowboys pick, not only because he's a good corner, but he's a superior athlete.
Yes, yes, he is.
So I think that a lot of people in the Cowboy rooms may get their wish. They may get Sertan and they may get Farley because the Cowboys love to draft guys that they have that medical red flag and they were first round graded, but the medical says this guy may play 3 years or 10 years.
Right.
This is what happened with Jalen Smith. This is what happened with Sean Lee.
Happened
This is
with
what
Ron Leary.
happened with Ron Leary, happened with Bruce Carter. So the Cowboys have always the second round is where the Cowboys have always took
Yeah,
these type of players.
yeah, they
They
take that.
gamble. So I do think the Cowboys have a chance to be able to get Sertan and maybe Caleb Farley, unless you get a team that has multiple picks like the. I doubt Miami Dolphins will do it because they got corners, but you watch out for a team like the Jets that might try to get Caleb Farley in the second round too, because they have a very good aggressive coach now. Now on the Kyle Pitts, folks, Kyle Pitts has a chance to be Megatron and Randy Moss put together.
He's a
I
unicorn, man.
know,
You
I
ain't gonna.
know it sounds crazy,
They don't come along
um,
often, man. He is.
and I know
Woo!
that we
He a
got we
difference
got
maker, man.
the two division rivals is drafting right in back of Dallas, but Dallas cannot get Kyle Pitts. Not that I would be upset if they picked him,
Let me explain
but
something.
Dallas cannot get Kyle Pitts, and the reason why it would take them out of contention of getting Sertan or Horn.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you what I know. Jerry Jones has lost a lot of draft day battles with the people in his draft room. Jerry's gonna want Kyle Pitts, folks, because he's like Ringling Brothers, man. He like Barnum and Bailey, man. He wants to be the show, and you put Kyle Pitts in that offense with the weapons they already have, and Jerry's gonna force their hands, and I'm going to be pissed.
And I'm going to tell you something for the record.
I want
If the
Sertan.
Cowboys draft Kyle Pitts, I know that we have never had a tradition. The tradition has always been 84 has always been the tight end, going back to Doug Crosby and then
And
Novacek.
no,
But don't be surprised if they get Kyle Pitts,
82.
that 82 gets allotted to him. Do not be surprised because
Yeah.
folks, Kyle Pitts, whoever gets him is going to be happy for the next 10 years. If he does not get hurt, he will get a gold jacket. So I know it sounds crazy that me and Dwayne say that we'll give up on a guy that who should probably potentially get a gold jacket, but At the end
Defense,
of the day,
defense,
the
defense.
Cowboys needs super, in our opinion, supersedes best player available. You're not going to see me with a long face if they draft Kyle Pitts.
No, I'm gonna laugh.
Um, I just say that the scenario that a lot of Cowboy fans are saying is you draft Kyle Pitts and then you trade Gallup. My problem with that is the funniest thing about receiver on your draft chart, you have quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, corner, and then receiver.
Right.
You can draft a great you could draft a great a receiver in any round. So, not saying that I don't appreciate Gallup. He's our deep threat. He's I like Mike G a lot. However, he's not going to get you nothing if you trade him. He's only going to get you a third, and that's what we got him in. So he's bringing us no value. So if we let him go in free agency, a team signs him. At the most, we'll get a third for him anyway. So I just think the whole scenario of trading MG, and people have said that we may trade him for Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore's on last year's contract. He's old in the tooth. Stephon Gilmore is going to want an extension. So I think that those scenarios that people tried to tie with Kyle Pitts and Gallup, you got to come better than that. I mean, you got to do something better than that. We need returns on defense. If you were to take a Kyle Pitts, I think it would be dangerous. I think we should have did some moves prior to, if Kyle Pitts is available, we could have did some moves, maybe signing another defensive back. But the Cowboys have basically put themselves in a situation where, and I know what the good Jeff Kavanaugh says, that if you could play today going into the draft with your lineup, you're good. I know we have two decent starters at cornerback now, but we still need that other guy. And
Listen, people may laugh when I say this, but they addressed a lot of needs with their free agent signings. Now
it
the
was the most
Cowboys,
most free agent signings in the history of the franchise.
now the Cowboys are taking gambles because they signed. Of all the people they signed, they only signed one person to a multi-year deal. And I'm trying to tell you guys, there's going to be talk at the end of during the season and towards the end of the season is how did people let Basham get to the Cowboys?
What's funny about Basham? What's funny about Basham is going to be able to rush from both sides of the line. And when they run their NASCAR from the Giants back in the day, it's going to be Basham is going to be on the field at the same time with Lawrence.
And wait until you have, this is a call out by me, Basham and Basham on the field together. Because Carlos Basham Jr. is eligible for this draft and is Basham's cousin. I can see the Cowboys doing a third round flyer on Carlos Basham Jr. because
Really?
he knows how to get to the quarterback, and his cousin is going to be on this team, and you may have the Basham and Basham combo. Just look out for that.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Watch him. YouTube him. Carlos Basham Jr. out of Wake Forest. YouTube him. Boy,
But I think that Dwayne, I think that, like we always talk about the draft every day when we talk, we start talking about this daggone team, and I think it's got some interesting things like the Pitts thing. I would not be shocked if the Cowboys traded their pick and just moved down two or three picks.
The Cowboys could trade
Um,
for more.
could
I wouldn't
because
be
somebody who has the 13th pick in the draft, Dwayne?
the Chargers. The Chargers may want to come up for Rashawn Slater. And if you drop
Or-
down to 13,
yeah.
you may still be able to get Horn.
Yeah.
Be able to get Horn. You may be able to get Jay.
Or like we talked, the Chargers got 13. Don't they? Do they got an earlier pick too?
No, Chargers.
They may trade with Dallas to get Pitts.
I think Pitts is going to be gone. I think if the Chargers are trading up, I think they're trading up for either Rashawn Slater or Penei Sewell to protect Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But hey, man, thank you for the platform, man. We rolled through all 8 divisions, and we still got time to spare. We still 26 days away. So let me ask you this. And you know, we talk every day. If there was one player in this whole draft that you would love to see the Cowboys draft, who would it be?
One player.
One player, regardless of position. Who is the one player you, as you evaluate this draft?
Oh, Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton. Nick
So if you
Bolton.
got Nick Bolton in the second round, you'd be happy.
I'll be happy.
Okay.
For the folks that don't know, Nick Bolton, linebacker out of Missouri. He's not the fastest linebacker. He's probably the fourth best linebacker in this draft. But he's a tackling machine.
Yeah, he is.
He's a tackling machine, and when he gets there, he completes the tackle. That's one of the things that I like. Even when you look at Warner, a lot of I like to give teams and players credit. Warner is the guy, the middle linebacker for the 49ers. A lot of people may not look at him and be like he's good, but if you watch him, that's what you want from a middle linebacker.
Yes, it
He
is.
makes the tackles and he completes the tackles when he gets there. I know the big guys, Bosa, Ken Shaw, them guys get all that hype. But if you look at a middle linebacker and watch what a middle linebacker's job is to do, that's what I want out of a middle linebacker. I really like Bolton. Bolton is good. I mean, after your three guys, and I say JOK is probably number one. Uh, your guy is number two, and Parsons. Them guys is tough, man. And they guys are better athletes than Nick Bolton. But I think Nick Bolton, you put Nick Bolton in the Cowboy uniform, um, it would be interesting. But I know that the Cowboys got some major decisions at linebacker they got to
Yeah.
face. So I don't
Well,
think they'll get him, but I wouldn't mind seeing him.
there's three players that I would love to see with the star in their helmet that are in this draft. Four players. Four. That I would. Five. I'm going to give you five. The last two is homers. So I'll throw them out because they're the last two. Kwity Paye and Jalen Mayfield because they're Wolverines. There you go. I said it. But three players that I would love to come out of this draft, and I'm not going to be able to get all three. I get it. But there's three players. If I come out of this draft with one of these three players with Dallas Cowboys, I'd be ecstatic. Okay? And that's Patrick Surtain, the corner out of Alabama, Travis Moore, the safety out of TCU, and Xavier Collins, the linebacker out of Tulsa. You give me one of those three.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Dwayne. I know you don't have the chart in front of you, and you know, hopefully for our draft show, we're gonna have the chart. For those in the chat, it's a chart that the NFL goes by where you can trade, and it's a point system that they use, and we're gonna have the chart during the draft show. I want to ask you a question about something, Dwayne. Pitts is on the clock. Pitts is there. Cowboys on the clock. They don't trade Pitts. They don't get Pitts, but they draft Surtain. You're happy. Xavier Collins is there in the second round. Him and Mooring.
Top of the second?
For both of them. For both of them. So I'm gonna ask you: would you trade your 2 third-round picks to get in that second to get a double dip in the second round?
I would, just because of what I backfilled myself in free agency. Now I want you guys to understand, because people don't understand what the Cowboys do in free agency. All you gotta do is look at Robert Quinn. All you gotta look Hyder when the Cowboys signed him. Vincent Mayawa. The Cowboys say, count me. So I'm going to take a Kesey, and if he goes out and has 7 interceptions for the Cowboys, I'm not saying he's going to. I said if. If the Cowboys don't re-sign him, he's going to turn the capital of a second or third round pick.
Same thing with everybody who the Cowboy fans ran out of town this year. Xavier Woods, whether people realize or not, with that secondary up in Minnesota, he has a chance to put up big numbers.
I tried to roll my eyes. I'm tired of this. I'm
I
tired
mean,
of
he's
this. But
look.
listen,
I know how
I'm
we
the
feel,
same
but
person. I'm the same
following your method of
person.
company, Dwayne,
Listen,
he can actually yield some return.
listen. I'm the same person that said roll my eyes at Jeff Heath, and look what he did in Las Vegas. So you know,
We got a
whatever.
fifth round pick for Jeff Heath.
That's what I'm saying. So just some other things around the NFL. Any thoughts of some of the other happenings with the league?
Um, I do want to address the Deshaun Watson thing.
Okay.
I see that the Houston police has finally opened up an investigation, and I'm gonna say this, preface this by, I'm glad they did, and the reason why is because I thought it was interesting that this lawyer didn't want to turn over the evidence to the police, and I thought it was kind of strange because any lawyer would have no problem giving evidence to law enforcement. I think that is was strange, and I think it speaks of some of the people that feel like Deshaun is being set up. So I think that with the police opening up investigations allegedly, I think that now we gonna see like, yo, this probably is a big money grab that's going on because I find it very and I want to be very clear that this show and what we're about is we're never going to victim sham or
No.
anything like that. But I just find it very peculiar that people, 21 women, would rather get money from this man instead of prosecuting him.
Let me say this, okay? And I've been trying to be careful during this whole thing. Allegedly, this is what happened. But I will say this, and it's an opinion, it's not a fact. Let me say that again before I say what I'm about to say. It is my opinion, it's not a fact. And there's a big difference. So I just want to clarify. So you got the 21 that's a part of Tony Busby's situation. You got the young lady that went to Sports Illustrated. She makes 22. Okay. Then you have Rusty Harden, who's a great defense attorney. Clemens used them. A lot of high level guys use them. Deshaun ain't playing when he gets a Rusty Harden. Rusty Harden has 18. So 22 and 18, that's 40 massage therapists. 40! Something's going on there, man. That this man who has access to some of the greatest massage therapies in the world through the NFL, but yet he's reaching out to 40 separate women in IG, Facebook, and all that stuff. Something's not right, man. And listen, allegedly, this is opinion, not fact. 40 that we know of. I don't know, man.
I'll say this that I think that Deshaun Watson's
And I
case.
love Deshaun Watson. He's Rain Dakota, Deshaun Watson. Those are my
I
two
think that
favorite players in NFL. Rain
I
Dakota
think that
1, Deshaun Watson 2, and they both wear number 4.
I think that
Let me be clear.
since all this has happened, Dwayne, I think this has been probably one of the most uncomfortable things for me and you to talk about on the show.
Very, very.
And I think that we always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We always want to um, proceed with a lot of caution in these issues. And this speaks to the uncomfortableness of the situation. And it's like when you follow a league and you know how they go about their business, um, even understanding how they do people and how a lot of players have been blackballed and how NFL and NBA, but we know how the securities do in these professional leagues. How they protect the stars from
Mm-hmm.
themselves and protect stories and squash stories. I just think that this is a sad situation, and he's been very fortunate that a lot of people will say that this situation is not being talked about, but honestly, it's really not being talked about on the level that it can be.
Yeah.
Um, he's been very fortunate of the Major League Baseball with the All Star game, and there's just been other stories going on. The NCAA women's basketball, other stories been taking the headlines, but the Deshaun Watson thing, um, it's just a tough situation.
It's a very tough situation, man, and you know, I hope it works out for him. But listen, one thing I will say: suspension's coming.
I
no
mean,
matter
Roger Goodell has to put him on that list.
no matter how it plays out, suspension's coming. If Ben Roethlisberger got 6 games, Zeke Elliott got what 10? Suspension's coming, bro. But we want to continue to focus on good and positive stuff. You know, I'm thankful for this man right here. You know, he's helped me during my Lent season fast. I've been on social media since February 16th, y'all. I'm back tomorrow. But tell them again about the collaboro with those two other great
Yeah, we're gonna be
shows and stuff.
the draft show on the 29th. It's gonna be Dwayne, myself, collabing with collab with our brothers from Dream Recruitment South Jersey branch. Dream is basically a recruiting agency,
They're
and
Central and South Jersey, right?
yeah, Central and South Jersey. Basically, they'll explain it when they come on the show what they do. Basically, what they're doing is like they're trying to help college kids get more noticed, far as sports. Both of the gentlemen that I know that's part of the Dream, and we had interviewed the guy who started it, but both of the guys that I know personally, um, they're influential with high school sports, and they like to be involved with the kids. So what they're doing is a major thing throughout New Jersey and the surrounding areas. And then we're gonna have our guys from 4G Sports. Um, they another podcast, very good shows, doing a lot. They're based all over. It's just funny. They got one brother's based out of Arizona. Doc is, I think, in Arizona as well, and OG is down in Atlanta.
OG
So
is
we
my
all go,
man,
yeah.
Cowboy
So
fan.
we all gonna be on the show together for the draft.
Hopefully, we'll have matching Rain Dakota
It's gonna
Prescott.
be interesting because you'll see the fans come out of us that day. But we
I'm gonna be Cowboy
one
Nation
of the
behind.
things is doing podcasts and formats and with video is you're going to get live reaction when these picks roll in. So some of us may be happy, some of us may be sad when their team picks.
And
And
here's a spoiler alert. You want to be tuned in at the 3 spot.
and that's gonna be the first night of the draft. The second night of the draft, I don't know who else is gonna be, but me and Dwayne will be doing live for the second and third round.
Yeah, man, that's what we do.
So we're gonna be doing two live back to back shows, most likely, and to just give you guys a warning, the show is gonna probably be about 3.5 hours per show. So
Yeah, why not? We're gonna be on the phone with each other anyway.
just be
Why
here
not
enjoying
open
this.
it
So
up to the world? Enjoy yourself.
it's gonna
You
be
know what?
interesting.
But
You'll
I
see
tell
it.
you what, we do take donations. So if you want to inbox me, ask me what my address is, send a pizza to me, man. Feed me, and I'll keep feeding you on this platform.
So with that, you guys take it easy in the chat.
Man, thank you for anybody that's chatting and like what you see. Hey man, like, share, and subscribe. I tell you, I don't like to embarrass my boy. I just speak the truth. There's a lot of apples to bite off of and on this Let's Talk platform. Last week they got me a little hot and bothered with their sultry poetry, man. I was blushing. I was like, I can't listen to this. I'm on my spiritual fast. This ain't gonna help
What was the
me.
word again?
Man, listen, I ain't even gonna go there. Just want to say, man, they put it down. You know, what the young lady name was Teardrop. There was a bunch of different people in there. I couldn't watch it though, y'all. I'm on my spiritual fast. They was getting a little too seductive and sultry for me. But
Yeah,
hey,
Dwayne
it's
is kind of
something.
Dwayne is kind of spoiling because we got a new show coming real soon. Where it's gonna be called Happy Hour
Ooh,
with a sexologist.
no,
That's
no,
all I say.
no massage therapies though. Okay, but anyway, you got a lot of stuff out there. You got the wonderful and talented Julia Dozier, and I would say get her books. She's on Amazon. She's an amazing talent. I got her book. I can't wait to read Crown Rules 2. I'm eagerly anticipating reading that. You got Keish and Shakita with the local rumors and what's happening in these streets. You got the wonderful K Brown. You never know what she gonna talk about on K Corner. I water you, you water me, and we grow together. So like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk.
With that, you guys in the chat, take care. Have a blessed week.